So I think it's very difficult to figure out what's going to happen in next few years in terms of roles which will exist, which will not exist. But what I can tell you for sure, that most probably our roles will not exist. Okay, some other roles will exist and those will change, right? I don't want us to be in a business where, for example, if you are doing retail sales, my request, real request is please relook at your roles. It's going to be dramatically different next. And maybe with unsecured lending going digital, you will see more and more of these services, including savings accounts going digital largely, right? Because customers moved. Or maybe the customers will stop opening more accounts. कितने account खुलवाओगे एक बंदे से, right? How many of you have more than one account? Okay, more than 2 accounts. So yeah, kitna khologe, right? There's only that much you can do with the customers, and you can't kill the customers, right? So I think there'll be saturation point for each one of them. So anyway, we spoke about it, but largely I have been in the same business all my life, 25 years in digital. And that's the experience which we have got. I have been sort of bringing in, and I always thought that I think this kind of knowledge, whatever acquired, can only be used in the real scenarios. And I do get bored largely when we do the same stuff again and again. So I've been trying my best to do that. But let's move on, yeah? So I think what we see right now is 3 segments in which roles will exist for people. One obviously is the banking industry, and banking industry continues to grow. But largely when you look at the industry itself, overall if you grow, growth is there. But within that, BFSI and digital roles are growing at a rapid pace. If you look at most banks, more NBFCs are hiring for those roles. But may also be hiring for other roles as well, but that is also interim by nature, very interim by nature. So I think digital roles in these segments will increase. Fintechs may obviously, there is a saturation point reached. They are not hiring more people. And logically so, because some level of infrastructure is already built and they need to optimize for that. So the growth in that segment would be largely limited. And embedded finance is underplayed right now. For example, any player who gets in and want to set up a lending practice or a payment practice, let's say for example how Flipkart would have done or Amazon would have done, those teams are very rich and large. And those roles are very specific, right? So I think those roles are not really counted for, but that's not a small number. So it's very large number out there. So embedded finance, maybe, since we work a lot, we realize that we typically start with 2 or 3 people, but over a period of time, if you want to build business, you may need maybe fairly large team because you are literally running another business end to end. One critical theme which is getting played, which we are realizing is that before 2000, what we were trying to figure out is that branches were largely operational. People will walk into the branch and all of that. That transition from 2000 to 2000, maybe 26, largely from a business that branches largely moved to sales, and then they're moving back to support. So they're no longer doing operations given, but sales would and is going to come down. Only reason why anybody should go to the branch is largely because they have to locker to operate. There's no way to operate that locker other way around, and you wouldn't want to hand it over to somebody else. Mere ghar pe aake de jao aur le jao. That's too risky. But other than that, operations obviously shifted to back office earlier. So one more theme is that all the process when we did this, we removed from front office. We basically moved operations to back office. Now that back office jumped, right? If you look at it, those numbers will be in thousands or maybe lakhs, and that is coming down. That is coming down dramatically as digitization or automation, whatever you call, happens. So today we are going in a world where banks will be largely support offices. They'll be obviously smaller. They will also, the banks will also reach 100% digitization of retail and MSME business for all types of products, secured, unsecured, deposits, wealth, every product will be digital. And it will be only customers' optionality. I think I just want us to be careful with this statement. Only customer-induced manual work will remain. Basically, customer may want to walk into the branch, you have to handle. Customer does not want to type in, you have to figure out. But you can't have a scenario where customer ko cater nahi karna chahta. I don't think people will want to do that. So I think the word I'm trying to use is optionality. Give him the options of whatever he wants. So to that extent that customer wants to walk in, you have to support. But largely, process-wise, system-wise, it will be largely digital. Today, banks may be doing on secured loans 0% digital. It will move to 20, 30, 40, 100. So same thing happened on lending side. Same thing happened on saving side when Kotak 811 came. From there to now, every bank has it, and of course, everybody is not as successful because that's also led by a lot of organic and digital marketing strategy, which is largely underplayed, right? I think this is the thought process on the roles. I'm like, everybody says that मैं इस role में हूँ, उस role में हूँ. I think the overlap between these roles is enormously high. We don't realize that if you are sitting in, let's say, tech, you need to have domain knowledge. How many of you believe that tech should not have a domain knowledge? Do you think tech should not have domain knowledge? Or they should have? But when we become tech, requirement दे दो. क्यों दे दो? Brain नहीं है उसके पास. So the point is that all the techies also have to understand business end to end. They should have an idea of P&L because their journeys, their investment is going to generate P&L impact. From a tech, they should obviously know, but they should know UI UX also, right? Because tomorrow they will come back saying that on the journey side, what happened, where the click rates are, how the conversion happens. They have to optimize all of that. Marketing side, right? They should know marketing because when you do click rates and all, it will come down to fact that how do you optimize journey. And product managers will say, I don't know tech enough to figure out what to do. So somebody has to do that work. In terms of sales, they should know how the sales is done because आपको पता ही नहीं है तो फिर बंदा कर ही क्यों रहा, right? Coming back to strategy, they should have fair idea about the strategy, how it's going to work because they are going to invest all their time. They should be very high on compliance, very, very high on compliance because it can be a DPA, DPA, right? So that data protection cannot be known by everyone. Tech has to do a lot of good job. Nobody will give you the requirements कि यार boss data privacy उनको पता ही नहीं होगा. That and of course analytics, they should know end to end, right? So the point I'm just trying to say is that the siloed approach of knowledge is gone. If compliance guy is the only guy who knows about compliance, you are anyway dead, right? Each guy in the company should have a decent knowledge. So if you look at the other side, I'm saying maybe for marketing side, the compliance levels can be, I mean, their knowledge of compliance may not be that large, but generally they should be high. Because if product managers do not know what is compliance, what are they building? And why are they building in BFS industry? Leave the industry, no? अगर आपको समझना ही नहीं है तो छोड़ दो. I'm just very cautious, right? I mean, fact is that RBI papers are clear, English में लिखा हुआ. पढ़ लो. And it comes as a master document. So it's not like random, आधा अधूरा. It's full document out there. Read it. So one of the things which we do is immediately read them. Now my interpretation may be wrong, but you would have, how many of you read our regulatory insights? Anybody has read regulatory documents on how KYC should be done and all that? Simplistic. Simplistic है. जो आता है वो लिख दिया. And interesting part is nobody else writes that. So it has to be public. Everybody should have the same knowledge, right? So how many of you think it's right? It's a way to look at it? The jobs will be fungible. You need to be moving across. So anybody who is in sales all through has a dead career now. Because it has to be entrenched with some work. So if you from a tech to operations, operation to technology, if you don't move, then you have a very unilateral view कि मुझे ऐसा आता है and other unit is not helpful. भाई उसका perspective देख लो. How many of the sales guy would know, tech guys will know how difficult sales is, and how many sales good guys would know that tech guys have to work through the night to make it happen. How many of you are tech guys and spend nights and weekends? All weekends when the migrations happen, you're dead, right? So it is what it is, right? So I just want us to be appreciating of each role and enabling the process rather than saying, "Aaj nahi karenge." So even today I meet so many guys who will say, no, it's business requirement has to be given by them. तो फिर तो brain को छोड़ दो ना कहीं. I mean, both sides. And business guys will say, no, tech is not my responsibility. फिर छोड़ दो. Because ball is, in the digital world, ball is this much only. This is the ball, right? You cannot say that ball में एक component में पढ़ूंगा, दूसरा अपने आप देख लेगा. कौन देखेगा? भगवान थोड़ी है कोई. So read upon it, it's easier to align. I think in your organization, if you are not training people on compliance, you're not training them on sales, everybody doesn't have a good view on each one of them. We are basically extending the project like crazy. Investing more than we should. I think your investment shouldn't be half or 1/3 if you do that way. But you can run like crazy if you don't know because everybody doesn't know. Then you need a program manager, PMO के ऊपर some steering committee, all of that. But you can do much better if everybody has the same perspective. Some of the roles obviously are going to go up and we're seeing in the market people asking for data science heads. The salaries are really good there. I'm so sad that I don't know enough about data science. So we will build practice, we don't have it right now. A lot of roles are really, really powerful. I think one more trait I want to talk about is as a leader who will become, I think most CEOs were from a sales background. Okay? That world is going to sort of stop. Not that sales guys will not become CEOs, but you will see more CDOs become CEOs, CIOs become CEOs. I don't know, CFOs will become CEOs, but I don't think compliance guys have become CEOs. So I think the optionality will increase because people will be exposed to more frameworks. If you think that you are all your life in one track, I don't think it's going to work much, right? Because people say, yaar, usse better to cheaper banda ban jayega. But you need to have a universal view that helps, right? I think all of that is okay. Detail oriented. So I think a lot of people are still not hands-on enough. I think one of the learning I have is that after I left all of that, the great thing was that I was still hands-on, right? So I can still, I can't put PPTs well now, but I can do everything else. So detailing specs, okay, if you can't write specs right now, and you are a product manager or you're chief product manager or you are head of product, if you can't review the specs, then you are saying, मैं तो बोलूँगा बाकी कोई करेगा. So I think hands-on is always useful. It helps. I think I'll leave everything else, but I'm saying tech skills, analytics skills, and business skills are all unique. All of them have to be picked up by you because when you are sitting in the board and you don't understand them, yeah, and also boards will need to be refreshed as well because boards cannot have only HR people, whatever CAs, all of them. They need there, but you need to have more digital perspective coming on boards, which is still improving, but it's not there all the time. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes on traits you will need on each domains. So let's take an industry. Let's take a industry like let's say unsecured lending with some companies there. Now, if you're a business guy, let's take a business guy. I'm right now going deep into the domain. You should know unsecured lending, logical. You should know India stack and all of that around it. Agar wo nahi pata hai, to how would you adjust to the new dimensions coming all the time? So that's basics, right? You'll have to go through it. Underwriting, product guy not knowing underwriting is death, right? So again, between the domains itself, there is overlap. In the previous one, I was going across, but within the domains, right? They should know about payments and collection. Lending is nothing but payment and collections of multiple types. एक बार बेच loan देना और या फिर you will have multiple tranches and then you recover it back. If you don't know the process, because collections have so many types, and payment can also be done in so many types. So everything you need to know, कहाँ पे पैसा how much is money out there, how much is payment has to be done by the other guys. NPA management क्या होता है, पता तो होना चाहिए, because NPAs will happen. And you should not say that मैं तो sell करके चला जाऊँगा और कोई और देखेगा. Product management will do it, but collection team will take, or NPA management or finance will take over. That's not going to happen. And insurance, in many cases you will take insurance, but again, co-lending is securitization. In your segment, much of the stuff can also be securitized. So you need to figure out कि मैंने कौन सा portfolio बनाया है, can it be sold better? You need to figure out वो होने वाला है कि नहीं होने वाला है. वो नहीं पता है तो फिर next capital कैसे आएगा? Capital only can come by raising capital, profit, or by this, right? So we need to have the alternative, and co-lending is growing at a rapid pace, both co-lending and securitization. Same thing on inclusion side. I think you need to know where the government initiatives are. These are all common entities. These are all common activities, secured lending, inclusion, because in inclusion, the challenge is that if you are physically there in location, you can't sell one product and be profitable. You need to know more. You need to do more. Yeah, that's the intent. So in each area, you need to go deeper. Same is the case with embedded. Embedded is even more complicated because if you are in embedded space, you can be doing things like what JustPay does, Udaan does, Stellups does, Credible does. In these all cases, they need to know all of that. Maybe in some cases, they will have to do wealth as well. Segment-specific knowledge, underwriting, NPA, deposit, insurance. So I'm just saying that as a generic practice, try to avoid being knowing only one space, one activity, go wider. And to do that, what do you need to do? So, वो तो हो गया ज्ञान. कैसे करेंगे? I think don't try to be in the same role for too long. That's any which way a case for difficult future. Prioritize digital skills. They are tough. All of you are here. You would have learned that so much of things are changing. While it's not still very attractive, ऐसा नहीं है कि 2016-17 में everything is going to change. No, it's changing, but it's changing underlying. It's not demonstrating as well. Anyway, banks or NBFCs don't talk enough about what they do. But they're doing a lot of good stuff, so we will have to learn. Continuous learning is skill development. Nobody's going to, your organization will also not take care of your career. They may want you to be a sales guy all your life. So to be aware of it, your organization or yourself will take care of it. And of course, keep reading more. and I always request that please do not read the only newspapers are not the only places you can learn. They are written by journalists. They are good, but they may not be as deep. So may not be the only place for you to learn. You need to do some more practice, some more interactions on these forums, and maybe meeting the right guys is more important. Technically, I learn from everybody else, right? So I meet more people, you talk to them and they'll say, "Tujhe nahi pata?" And then they teach me too many things, right? So a lot of times people say, "Yaar, tujhe to pata hai." तो मुझे कोई पूछता है कि तुझे नहीं पता, then he starts selling. So you need to interact more, and that's about it. And if you get a chance, please join early stage companies. You'll realize how complicated it can get, and you may get overwhelmed. You may say, "Yeah, culture fit नहीं हो रहा," but काम तो करना पड़ेगा. So what lot of it, who am I? And I'm openly telling you is because I was part of the Kotak Mahindra Bank setup, and those days, and I'm quoting myself, the maybe 50-80% of who I am is because Kotak setup. Maybe I was there. And I learned how the leadership was on the ground, teaching everybody, saying, "Haath se karte hain, haath se karte hain." Working with Deepak Gupta, Manian, and Shanti was amazing. So with this, I pause. Please try to ensure that you are not stagnant and doing the same work, getting overpaid for the role, because the role may not exist. With this, I pause, and I hand over to the team here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samir Singh Jainu.